Ladies and gentlemen, in recent years, with recent weeks with SolarWinds and Hafnium, we could observe how the rapidly evolving landscape of threats is becoming more and more volatile. As the threats vary, multiply, and transform, we must remain vigilant. But Europe's resilience is only as strong as the resilience of numerous organizations, big and small, public and private, that may make up for the European space. I would like to give the floor now to Mr. Joshua Burch, Senior Managing Director and Head of Cybersecurity for Europe, Middle East, India, and North Africa region of the FTI Consulting.
Hello, my name is Josh Burch, and I'm a Senior Managing Director at FTI Consulting, where I lead the firm's cybersecurity practice in Europe, the Middle East, India, and Africa. Before joining FTI, I spent more than 15 years working for the British government in a range of national security roles, all focused on understanding and ultimately mitigating global strategic threats, including from nation states, terrorists, and malicious cyber actors. This included roles as Chief of Staff to one of the UK's most senior national security officials and as head of the strategy and risk team at GCHQ. The security landscape has evolved almost beyond recognition since I began my career in government, driven by the same innovations in technology which have transformed our economy and society. Exponential innovation in technology has made individuals and organizations dependent upon technology and data to live our lives. But the threats to the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of those networks and data have never been greater. Today, a cyber attack can be more effective than any bomb in achieving strategic aims and geopolitical objectives. This was thrown into sharp relief just a few months ago when it was revealed a nation-state attack against SolarWinds compromised US government agencies and some of the world's most recognizable private companies, including parts of the Pentagon, Department of Homeland Security, Microsoft, Cisco, and Deloitte. In the last few weeks alone, we've seen nation-state hackers Hafnium inflict a massive surge of breaches against Microsoft's Exchange server, successfully impacting 250,000 businesses and government customers globally, including the European Banking Authority and Norwegian Parliament. The message is clear. Online is the new frontline. And it's in this context that I often ask clients to visualize themselves standing in the ashes of their business, devastated by the cyber attack which most brutally exposes their weakest flank, and to ask themselves the question, what do you wish you had done to prepare for this moment? Now, COVID-19 has served to further exacerbate this cyber threat. As populations switch to remote working environments, the combination of societal confusion, uncertainty, and new ways of working in a distributed environment enabled by technology has seen an intensification of the cybersecurity challenge. Potential victims are more psychologically susceptible, and the opportunity for attackers is greater. Consequently, cybercriminals have adapted their approach to the pandemic and are launching attacks involving emails designed to appear as legitimate messages from medical or health organizations. Scams capitalizing on the remote working environment are being launched to harvest credentials and infect systems. Additionally, accidental weaknesses are being exposed in how we all operate new tools during lockdown. With most of us only seeing each other virtually, we're also seeing fraudulent wire transfers being more likely to succeed due to less in-person interactions. Prior to COVID-19, social engineering, including phishing, was the most common attack vector, and it's not losing any steam in today's remote working environment. The UK's National Cybersecurity Centre recently warned that ransomware has become more common, reporting that they had handled more than 3 times as many ransomware incidents in 2020 compared with the previous year. We're seeing a growing trend for these attacks to be more aggressive and targeted than ever before. Cyber attackers operate in an environment which is borderless, lawless, and limitless, putting every organization under threat. Yet, throughout the pandemic, it's been clear that certain organizations and industries are currently being more specifically targeted, none more so than pharmaceutical firms producing the vaccines critical to saving lives and unlocking national economies. Intellectual property theft is a very real challenge, and as we've seen this year in the context of COVID-19, testing and vaccine research is of very real interest to nation states. The pandemic was not, of course, the genesis of nation-state cyber attacks. Over the last decade, nation-states have been increasingly using cyber methods to achieve their broader geopolitical objectives. These attacks can achieve dramatic and unintended collateral damage, and the examples which we will all have heard about include NotPetya, an alleged Russian attack against Ukraine for political reasons, which had a global impact on business using the targeted software, amongst which were logistics company Maersk, who were famously hit. And likewise, in the UK, the WannaCry attack, which security authorities claim was launched by North Korea, severely impacted the NHS. Nation-state attackers are, of course, only one of a range of threat actors. The primary players also include organised criminal groups, so-called hacktivists, terrorists, script kiddies, and last but not least, the threat from disgruntled insiders. And furthermore, cyber capabilities, which were only available to nation-states a few years ago, are now available to buy on the dark web. You can buy and then launch a distributed denial of service attack for as little as $100 US. What's interesting, though, is that the lines between nation-state and organised criminal groupings are blurring. Nation-state actors often hire organised cybercriminal groups to do their bidding in order to have plausible deniability. And to take the example of North Korea, a draft United Nations report leaked in 2019 revealed that the country had used its cyber capabilities to extract some $2 billion from the global economy in 2018 alone to fund its weapons of mass destruction program. And more mind-bendingly, we've also seen reports of groups such as the Russian Turla Group obtain and then deploy techniques and signatures of the Iranian oil rig cyber group to attack Saudi critical infrastructure, again with the aim of achieving plausible deniability. In other words, an already complex cybersecurity threat landscape has become exponentially more dangerous. Recent research from FTI Consulting's Resilience Barometer survey of 2,700 G20 organizations at C-suite level found that in the past 12 months, 45% of companies had seen cybersecurity climb the board's agenda as a result of COVID-19. 75% of companies surveyed in the G20 were negatively impacted by a cyber attack in 2020, and 60% of companies in G20 nations are experiencing a heightened level of threat from insiders. And an estimated $18 billion of revenue was lost as a result of cyber attacks in 2020. Now, with these profoundly worrying figures in mind, organizations across the globe clearly need to keep re-examining their cyber risk profiles, understand current threat vectors, and determine how these threats have evolved since the pandemic started. A cyber attack is a matter of when and not if. So the most important thing an organization can do is to strive to become a cyber resilient organization, one which focuses on identifying and protecting its crown jewels, the assets, data and systems that make the business what it is. And one which understands that their risk environment is constantly evolving, and so they're evolving to match, anticipate it. Businesses should perform their own internal assessments and determine what their crown jewels are, because if your limited resources for cybersecurity are not focused on your crown jewels, then they're focused in the wrong place. Crown jewel assets could include key technologies deployed across enterprise networks, proprietary software and web applications, key manufacturing facilities, or technology-enabled systems or products. In practice, though, resilience needs to be both practical and attitudinal. Certainly, there is a range of concrete steps that organizations can and should take to improve their resilience, spanning people, process, and technology. But the broader objective is to develop an organizational-wide mindset of cybersecurity, a culture of resilience. And such a mindset acknowledges that cybersecurity breaches are inevitable, a case of when not if, and prepares the organisation accordingly. To identify and reinforce the crown jewels, you need to conduct a business impact assessment, understanding risk appetite around recovery times and sensitivity of data. So in conclusion, the reality of today's world is that online is the new frontline, with increasingly sophisticated and complex threats coming at all of us from a range of threat actors. So let's be clear, no organisation is impenetrable, but by thinking about your cybersecurity resilience and taking steps to prepare, you're already one step ahead. Thank you.